Eagles almost touchdown favorites in D.C. against a Jaden Daniels Commander squad. If the Eagles win, they would be the first NFC East repeat champ since '04. Lots of criticism around the play calling for the offense. Knicks Raiders. Everybody cooling bomb.
Everybody's homecoming.
Has criticism of Jalen Hurts been overblown?
Yes. All right. He is about to win the NFC East for the second straight year, for the first time in 21 years. Dak hasn't done it. Romo never did it. Michael Vick, when he had his great years in Philly, didn't do it. Eli Manning, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, when they had a little hot streak.
Nobody since McNabb,
Nobody's
right?
done it.
Was
yes,
since
McNabb.
Yeah.
And so he's about to do that. He has beaten the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Packers, the Lions. In a loss to Denver, he throws for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. In a loss to a victory of Brian Flores, who's a great defensive coordinator in the Minnesota Vikings, threw for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, I think the reason he's criticized are 2 things. One, he is not your typical, quarterback, just be in the pocket, 6'5", throwing the ball all over the place like a Joe Burrow or somebody like that. He's different. He runs. He doesn't run like Lamar or Josh, but running is a big part of his game.
He used to run a little more like Josh. He doesn't run as much.
A little bit, but he's never been that. Yeah, he's not. And he's a leader, and in big moments, he's at his best. I think that's one that he does it differently. Again, I've used this before, but like a Tyrese Halliburton. He scores 14 points. People think, he had a bad game. And not necessarily. He had the offense humming. He's passing the ball. So that's kind of how Jalen Hurts is, a different type of player. And the second problem, and why this happens, I think, is A.J. Brown. If A.J. Brown had never said anything a year ago and wasn't reading books on the sideline, listen, we haven't heard anything negative from A.J. since he's been getting the ball, even when they were losing. And so I think if A.J. had never said anything like that, I don't even think we'd be looking at Jalen like that. So I think it has been harsh, and I think they're live in the NFC that's wide open.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a little overblown. I'm not going to say we wouldn't be saying anything because of A.J. Brown if A.J. Brown hadn't said anything, because I do believe we would still be talking about Jalen Hurts. It's simple. In a passing league, when you have a quarterback that doesn't have the running game that we were accustomed to seeing last year, the expectation is you're going to supplement what we don't have. And that's just not Jalen Hurts. And everyone wants to knock it and say, well, you're knocking Jalen Hurts. And that's just not who he is. Can he be that in moments? Absolutely. We've seen it at the highest level in the most important game of his career, in the Super Bowl, in the brightest spots. We've seen him be that. It's just the level of consistency to expect him to do it every single week. That's never been who he is. Yeah. And so if we're saying we want to see that, and that's our expectation, criticism, yes, warranted. You gotta get on them. It comes apart. It's a part of the territory when you're playing that quarterback position. But for a team that is a run-first team and has struggled, he has to wear some of it. Because of the struggles that they've had offensively.
Yeah, I don't think it's overblown at all. Listen, I think the very brief moment it seemed like the local Philly media was like, should we bench him? That was overblown.
That's ridiculous.
Like that, right. So, but I think we recognize that was ridiculous and an outlier thing. Before I answer this, though, can I react to that sound? Because I do not have the reaction to that sound you do.
That I did.
You thought it was awesome. I thought it was. Think about that. It's a moment of celebration. And the first thing out of Sirianni's mouth is, see, the stuff we were getting criticized for, scheme, it was good.
Yeah.
And the first word out of Jalen's mouth is, the stuff I was getting criticized for, it was like
a telling piece of
right,
stuff.
it was a telling, because he's like, the coach says, to me, the positive spin would have been if those quotes had been reversed. If Jalen comes over to Sirianni and Sirianni's like, man, You ripped it up the seam. And Hurts is like, man, you schemed it wide open. Instead, Sirianni's like, you like that scheme, buddy? And he says, you like that throw.
I think some of that might be because then Sirianni's gotten more involved in the offense the last 2 weeks. So I think that might be, you know what I mean, might have something to do with it.
Sure, I don't think it's a huge thing, but I do think it's a telling, it's an interesting look in. This is, again, getting back to I think sometimes a lack of criticism is patronizing, and I've talked about this with other things. Jalen Hurts has finished in the top 5 in MVP voting. We did a whole thing this year about how he's one of 7 guys to be in the top 20 each of the last 3 years in that NFL top 100. It's like him, Mahomes, Josh Allen, I think Myles Garrett, like the best players in the league. He is paid like he's a superstar. He's a franchise quarterback for one of the most highest profile teams in the league. And the offense has greatly and drastically underachieved this year. Now, they have been able to overcome it record-wise, but when we show you their offensive numbers, you say this is a team that is greatly underachieving its talent level. So, of course, the quarterback is going to wear it. And he is the only star quarterback or quarterback that is paid like a star that we just bake in to pros and cons. Like, well, we all know he's not a super great, reliable passer. And you just have to accept it. And so, and by the way, because he is good at the other things and he at least used to be such a threat with his legs, which to me, if we show you the running stats, that's the other sneaky part of this is Jalen Hurts, they don't call designed runs for him like they used to. Again, that's a 4-year stretch, but that's per year. That's an average, so it's not total.
Yep.
You know, so they don't call designed runs even half as much as they used to, or right about half as much because they got some of the year left. He scrambles not as much. He breaks off long runs less. So all of those things are going to lead to a level of criticism that I think is fair, Brew.
But here, look at his numbers. You showed the teams, the offense's numbers, which were all in the 20s, essentially. One was 18th. Look at his numbers. 9th in passer rating, 12th yards per attempt, 5th touchdown to interception ratio, really one game where he had 4. And then total TDs, he's 3rd.
Yeah, and I
think you can't blame all that offensive dysfunction on him. No, how about Saquon Barkley, who's not having a good year, and the offensive line, which isn't having a good year?
Or how about the fact that we can't include on that graphic passing yards because they're so
He doesn't
low.
throw for a lot of yards.
Right,
Lamar, even at his height, doesn't throw for a ton of yards.
We have started saying on this show, that passing yards are not the end-all be-all. And they're not the end-all. They're not the end-all be-all. But there's only 2 ways to move the football. You run for yards, you pass for yards. And if your team, last year, he got the benefit of the 2,000-yard rushing season.
Yep.
This year, they can't do it. They asked him to pick up that slack.
Have they?
And
I mean, it's a lot of games they don't overthrow the football.
This is what I would argue. Yes, do you ask him to pick up the slack? You do ask him to pick up the slack, but you're asking him to pick up the slack when you don't have the same type of personnel in front of me to solidify that I'm protected and then give me the time that's needed that I did have last year because of what I did have in the running game and the guys up front. So it matters. The way that this team has been built, it was not built solely because of, okay, Jalen Hurts is this awesome thrower. He doesn't need much. No, they knew, let's support him with a great running game and some skill guys around him, and we can use his number one attribute, which is his, you mentioned it, the leadership, the steadiness, the unwavering ability to rise to the occasion in the highest of moments when we need you to. That's who he is. And can he be great throwing the ball? He can. Is he going to be Joe Burrow throwing the ball or Patrick Mahomes every time? No, he's not. That's not who he is.
I wonder how his game changes in the playoffs. He takes a page out of Mahomes' book, starts running a little bit more. Start calling more design runs.
They were on a 3-game losing streak, and he threw 5 picks.
Packers in Chicago, Saturday night on Fox. News today, Luther Burden and Rome Odunze out. That's not good. Caleb, fresh off a cook in the Browns defense, said he could make any throw after the throw of the year that Parkins said was Montana to Dwight Clark-esque. Does anyone here expect another great Caleb game? Greg, we'll start with you.
Great Caleb game? I'm not sure about a great Caleb game, but I do expect Caleb Williams to play well. Look, he's coming off a really good, impressive performance against the Cleveland Browns. So his level of confidence is going to be high, and largely because of what he was able to do in that second half against the Green Bay Packers. Like, when you play that type of a game, and obviously it didn't end the way that he would have hoped, but when you watch that tape and you're the player that performed and threw that interception, you don't necessarily look at it as, man, I threw an interception, I let my team down solely. You look at it as, man, I got this team. Man.
Oh.
I blew it. If I make this throw, like they didn't stop us in the second half pretty much. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do as a pass thrower, we as an offense. And when you look at what he doesn't have, obviously Rome Odunze and Luther Burden, I don't think that's obviously really good, impactful players for what they've been doing all year.
Because Burden
But Colston Loveland, his emergence, Cole Kmet is getting back reacclimated and involved in what they do offensively, and then DJ Moore as well. So they still have weapons, and we got to understand he's going to be protected by that run game. And he has a level of confidence where now the operation looks good, pre-snap, he's seeing things better, he's anticipating throws. I still think he's going to play well, and this has nothing to do with what the Packers won't have. I just think his confidence is at that point.
No, look, that makes sense. I think this is the most intriguing part of this game. And both quarterbacks, really. What does Love do? Can he carry him without Micah Parsons? But, yeah, I really want to see, does Caleb build on what he did last week and, like you said, the second half against Green Bay? He's had 3 outstanding games outside of last week against Cleveland. Dallas, he threw 4 touchdowns. And then Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, he threw 3, no interceptions in those games. The game after, though, he's fizzled out in 2 of them. 1 of them, he was okay. But you see his numbers. The game after a great game, he hasn't been able to play well. So if he can string together 2 great games, it'll be the first time he's done it.
Giants and Eagles, not like.
Those aren't great. The Eagles, obviously, but the Raiders and Giants, those aren't even good teams you're facing. So it'll be interesting. I think he's fully capable. He has, these last few weeks, I think, played really well. And just, you're seeing him when he rolls out, that's when he's like at his best.
So I think you can kind of look at it as, if you can get over the mistake at the end of the Packer game, which, again, I'm not trying to gloss over, but to me that wasn't like indicative of anything other than, guy, you saw it late and underthrew it. You know what I like? The process was fine. The play was fine. It was the right read, all of it, but he saw it a little late and then underthrew it. He has a chance to have now strung together, if he has an excellent game, like 10 really high-level quarters, right? Because the second half against Green Bay, to your point, the whole game against Cleveland, and then this game. And if he does that, they are a very real threat. Yeah. Because this team, when Caleb's played well, they've been one of the best teams in football. He has had 5 games this year with a passer rating 95 or better. They're 5-0. They're 5-4 in the games he hasn't, which is a testament to the defense forcing turnovers in the running game. When he has thrown for just more than 210 yards, they're 7-1. They're 3-4 when he doesn't, which again shows you, to Ben Johnson's credit and the running game's credit, they're a 500 team when the quarterback plays poorly, which most teams would kill for that. Like, be 500 when our quarterback plays bad. But the fact that they're damn near unbeatable when he plays well is what, if we get another great Caleb game, then all of a sudden you start being surprised by his bad games rather than pleasantly surprised by his good games, which that would then make them an 11-4 team with a young #1 pick quarterback ascending at the right time and super dangerous. And it would put them in great shape to at least win the division. you know what I mean, to get a home playoff game and have the best path imaginable.
Can I give you the opposite side of the interception wasn't a big deal coin? And there are two kind of conflicting stats, so I want to get your take on it. He is not an accurate thrower of the ball, right? So his completion percentage at Cleveland was good, according in Caleb's status. 61. Last 4 games before that, 54, 47, 54, 50, 55, 59, 65 was the highest in Baltimore before.
And they lost that game.
So
Tyler Hunt.
At the same time, this stat was floating around. 12 interceptions in his first 1,000 passes is the fewest ever.
Yep.
So it's this weird thing like, all right, I know some Bears fans like, well, he throws the ball away, but Josh ran those numbers. The completion percentage is still low. So is that one where, you know what, I'm going to have to take a shot. I don't have another option. I'm going to go for it. And it wasn't, oh, I just underthrew it. Like, I'm actually not an accurate quarterback.
Yeah,
and
no, I think
if I have to put it there.
To Nick's point, when you watch that play, he definitely saw it late. He saw it too late, and he probably, if he could take that throwback, he takes it back. But when you have a guy that has a big arm and a live arm and believes he can make every throw, you typically see errant passes when they're younger, but you also see the interceptions when they're younger. And we don't see that with him.
It's interesting.
And so if he's not turning the ball over, we don't appreciate him enough because he's had these struggles, and we've seen the Jaden Daniels and the Drake Mays and these guys throw with great accuracy and have success, and he hasn't had that. His process has been a little slower. However, he doesn't turn the ball over.
No.
And that's the number one thing you harp on when you are playing quarterback. We got to protect the football.
And he said that when he was asked about the great play, the play in the back of the end zone. He said, he was like, well, I knew. He was like, that was either getting completed or incompleted. That sounds,
not intercepted.
Right, not intercepted. That it was that he.
Which is, because it could have been intercepted.
I mean, it's just, he said where he thought where he threw it, and then he went on to say, he was like, basically, when I release the ball, either my guy's catching it or nobody's catching it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.